So today I'm going to tell you about the story of Tao Wang, who is also known under the name Frank Wang. So he's a very rich and powerful Chinese entrepreneur. You may ignore his name, however, his invention changed our world forever and also changed his life. Let's start at the beginning. Tao Wang was born in 1980 in China, in the city of Hangzhou. His father is an engineer and his mother is a teacher. So basically, he will receive as a gift a comic book. And the comic book is about older person teaching to younger kids how to fly an helicopter. From that point on, helicopter is going to become one of his big passions. Fast forward, he's now in school and his grades are not that great. His father is going to make a deal with him and he's going to tell him, hey, I will get you remote control helicopter. After 1 year, Tao improved his grade and his father kept his promise and get him the helicopter. At the time, the technology is very different from what we have today. We are in 1995. Everything is manual. You have a big button for the propeller, another button for the one in the back, but it's not necessarily super stable like what we have nowadays, basically. So after 2 minutes of trying to fly the helicopter, Tao is gonna crash. He's gonna try to contact the company, which is located in Hong Kong, which is far away from where he lives. And he's going to try to diagnose the helicopter. He's going to try to see which component can be salvaged and which component are completely damaged. From there, he's going to make a deal with his dad. His dad will get him the component and he will fix it by himself. So at the time, he's 15 years old. He just has the manual and he received the component. Everything is mechanical. It's a very big project to take on for a kid that is 15 years old. Nevertheless, he's going to be able to fix it. However, the problem remained the same. He doesn't know how to fly it. And that's going to become his obsession because what he would like to do is to make it as simple as playing video game. Make the helicopter steady so that he could fly it easily, basically. So fast forward, he's now going to school. He's getting to the University of Shanghai. And over there, he's going to have a lot of theory, but not a lot of practice. So he'll leave that school. And he will try to apply to different schools in the US, like Stanford or MIT. However, he won't get accepted there. And ultimately, he will go to Hong Kong University and he will present his project of creating that helicopter that would be easy to fly and that would be much more steady. He will receive a grant equivalent of $2,000 at the time to work on that project. He will recruit other students for 6 months. However, the student will quit the project because Tao is very demanding and kind of obsessive with it, I guess. And they will quit and he will end up finishing the project by himself. After completing the project, he has to present it to his teacher. It counts for a big part of his grade. So he flies the helicopter, everything takes off, everything is good. After a few seconds, he stopped touching the remote and technically the helicopter is supposed to stay steady. However, it's gonna work for a few seconds, but then the helicopter is gonna fall down and crash. As you can imagine, it's a big failure. It's going to receive a C, which definitely closed the door for Stanford or MIT. At this moment where everything goes wrong, sometimes if you pay attention, you always have a ray of light to give you some hope. And in this case, the ray of light was Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee is another teacher that witnessed the entire scene. He's a teacher, but he's also an entrepreneur into the world of robotics. So he's gonna tell Tao, I think you did great. Okay, it failed, but the how do you call it? The algorithm was good. He's gonna tell him you should keep on doing what you're doing. You should aim at the entire world, not only China. You should set yourself an office in Shenzhen because all the components you need are manufactured in Shenzhen. And you should join my class. And the next day, Tao will join the class. He'll end up finding an office in Shenzhen, thanks to his uncle. Not a fancy office, but an office good enough to do what he wants to do. He's gonna create his company. So the name of the company, if you will translate it in English, is Beyond Frontier. However, in Chinese, is Daijing Innovation, also known as DJI. I'm sure now you know it. He will recruit collaborator to help him work on it. Thing is that that's his life project, and for them, not necessarily. And sometimes we will call them in the middle of the night to talk about technical stuff, and they don't necessarily feel well paid or respected, so they will end up leaving the company. And even one of them will share the work that DJI did with another company. So he's like really desperate at this point. He's gonna go back to Mr. Lee and tell him about the advancement and the progress that he made, but he will also tell him the company's about to die, I need $100,000. He will wait for the answer for 2 hours because Mr. Lee has to give class. After the class, Mr. Lee will tell him, okay, I'm gonna give you the 100K. The thing is that I want to be a part of the company. You will handle the technical stuff and I will handle the strategy of the company. Now that they do their first flight in Tibet, when you look at the footage nowadays, it's not that great, but at the time, it's amazing. Tao understood that he needs to get away from the helicopter frame to something smaller with 4 propellers. When they're gonna go and present the drone, he's gonna meet Colin Green, which is an American, and they will collaborate with DJI. He's gonna get 48% of DJI. And he's gonna do a great job about, talking about DJI everywhere, and the sales will increase. Ultimately, I think there was disagreement between them because they tried to buy back his share and exchange it against 0.3% of the shares that they had in China. And of course, that ended up in court, and they ended up giving a lot of money to Colin Green. Ultimately, Colin Green joined another company called 3DR, which is another drone company. So officially, Tao Wang never really talked about it, but my opinion is that it's kind of like awkward when you know that Colin Green brought a lot of sales to actually try to take things away from him, and that's just my opinion. But anyway, let's keep on going with the story. DJI also gets into the stabilizer. They are not the one who invented the stabilizer because a company called Movi already had it, but they made it so that it could be made cheaper. So that's why you could see DJI stabilizer or drone in every big set. And they even received award for the creation of the drone. And it's great at the time. I think DJI represents 70% of the market share of the drone. At some point, there's going to be an event that's going to give a lot of publicity to DJI, which is great, but at the same time, it's also going to kind of highlight the danger that drone could bring and the fact that there is no regulation around it. There was an employee from the White House who flew his drone and he crashed in the lawn of the White House. And then, of course, the media saw it as if a drone will come and if the drone would be weaponized, it would be dangerous.
CBS News confirmed the Secret Service found a small drone on the grounds.
The drone found at the White House.
The White House is once again raising major concerns about security.
When they interview Tao, he explained that what he will set up to avoid that type of thing is a no-fly zone. So basically, the White House became a no-fly zone, the airport became a no-fly zone. Any owner of a DJI drone wouldn't be able to take off in or fly in this location because of the no-fly zone that was set up. But at the time, this is also the moment where there is the big conflict in Iraq and Syria, and you will find a lot of DJI drone on the battlefield that have been weaponized, so they are used to fly and drop bomb or whatever the case. So a lot of different usage for the drone that Tao created. Of course, in 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, a lot of people were thinking that it would take a few weeks for the war to be over, but Ukraine resisted a lot, and one of the weapons that they were using were a Mavic DJI drone that were weaponized to drop bomb on tanks, Russian tanks, and things like that. Of course, these are not the only drone that they are using. They're also using FPV drones that are much faster, and they can be used as a kamikaze drone, where a drone will follow a soldier to kind of blow up explosive on him. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, but that's pretty much part of of the arsenal of each army now. And the thing is that officially DJI doesn't have a no-fly zone on the battlefield. They still have no-fly zone in Ukraine at the airport and things like that. They officially not selling a drone to the Ukrainian army or the Russian army. However, I heard or read that 60% of the Mavic sales are done by the Ukrainian army. So I'm not sure how it's happening, but you have a lot of these drones on the battlefield and drones that are modified and things like that. All of this to tell you that from a simple childhood dream and a vision that he kept on pursuing, he was able to transform our world to what it is today. Drones are not all that bad. They can be used for good things, like with the fire department, filmmaking, agriculture, etc., etc. But I'm telling you that story just to say that if you have a dream and if you believe in your vision, you will never know where it might end up. So if you want to invent the next big thing, go for it, keep on going. And if you are flying drone, as filmmaker, then keep on going, create great footage. That was the story of Tao Wang, and I see you in the next one.